Hey everyone, this is Steve from GamersNexus.net, and we are here at PAX East 2013. I am joined by Nick Pinkerton and Patrick Stone, and we were just going to do a quick video / cast talking about the event today. And I wanted to open up with Rosewill. We met with Rosewill. There's a video online already, so check the description below for a link to that. The computer you're looking at right now uses an Intel i7-3970X, so pretty expensive processor, an X79 SR motherboard. I'm not sure which brand right now. 3 GTX 680s and SLI, 64 gigabytes, of Kingston's Beast memory, because it is pretty beastly at 1600 watts of power from their Hercules power supply, which was also custom modded by BS Mods. So if you look at the power supply in the video, you can see that it was custom meshed. The whole case actually is custom meshed, and it even has, I believe, 7 or so 12,000 RPM industrial server fans. So we were advised to not stick our hands in them. And with that, I'm going to lead off to Patrick, actually, to talk a little bit more about the hardware industry at PAX East.
Yeah, it was really good to see a good showing from the hardware vendors. Pretty much all the big names were there, minus one important one, AMD. Still wondering why they're not showing up here. I'm sure there's a good reason somewhere. Not an AMD hater, just letting you guys know. But yeah, it's having PAX being a gaming-focused con, it's certainly important that the gaming industry's hardware suppliers are there. And once again, like in the past few years, the hardware industry showed up in true, natural, all-out force. And one of the things that I thought was really kind of a sad thing this year is that there's not a lot of new stuff. Intel calls it a talk in their language. It's more of a refinement year. At this point in time, it's more of a, hey, there's hardware out there. It's got the capabilities. What are the developers going to do? And so one of the titles that came out that Nick Pinkerton got to look at was Daylight, and I'll let him talk about that a little bit.
Right. So as you might have heard, Daylight is one of the first games to showcase the Unreal Engine 4, and it's the first game that has been playable for attendees. And obviously, it's a very impressive game. The lighting when you could actually see during the game, because it is a survival horror, was very. It's all dynamic lighting, so it's one of the few games out there that has the capability of doing that. And I'm sure that that's something that the Unreal Engine 4 is, capable of delivering there. The audio was actually something that I thought was equally as impressive. This is from the studio that developed the Blacklight Retribution game, and they have people who've worked on Fear and Condemned, so they really know a lot about survival horror right there. Unreal Engine 4 just looks amazing when you think about the longevity of Unreal 3 and where that started, even on console with games like Gears of War. I mean, we are seeing that full generation jump now with UE4. So it's cool to have that first hands-on experience even before you actually get to the announcement of some of the upcoming consoles. I also liked how the game offers what we call a
procedural generation.
There we go. I was going to revert back to my other term for it. So basically, the game is not going to be the same experience every time you play through it. So all of the objects and the instances that come up within the game are generated randomly. So you can play this game all the way through, be scared and whatnot, but when you load it back in to try it out again, it's going to be a different experience the next time around. So you can't just sprint through it and expect everything to happen just like the first time. So it's definitely something to look forward to, and it looked beautiful. Obviously, it was run on a GTX 680, so they wanted to show it off as best as they could. But I imagine that even with some of the kind of like mid-range graphics cards out there, you can still have a pretty looking Daylight, as it's called.
And Unreal Engine 4 is also supposed to be showcasing real-time ray tracing at some point in the future, from what NVIDIA told us previously. Real-time ray tracing is just the game's ability to realistically interpret lighting effects on reflective or metallic surfaces and other surfaces of that sort, like transparent surfaces as well. So real-time ray tracing is the ability to render all of that in real time without pre-rendered graphics, without pre-baked lighting or anything like that. So if it does make an appearance in Unreal Engine 4, as it did in the trailer released a couple years ago for the engine, I think we'll have a pretty big jump in gaming graphics. Of course, a lot of that will hinge on the consoles and how they interpret all of that. The only other thing I wanted to cover was Grid 2 really quickly while we're on gaming. I played a little bit of Grid 2 while I was there. Unfortunately, I couldn't get many questions answered because the reps were pretty busy with other goings-on in the booth. But Grid 2 plays very well. It's fairly different from Grid 1. They're on effectively a 1.5 version of the Ego engine, I believe, is what they're using. And the controls are smooth. The graphics, even though they're not finalized, are pretty good looking. Unfortunately, there is no more cockpit mode view, and there is no more, or I couldn't get any details on car tweaking like downforce and ride height and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if they're moving away from the simulation aspect or not. But I think that about wraps it up for our first PAX East, or first day at PAX East 2013. We will try and do another one the next, at least one night. Sunday we're all leaving pretty early, so check that out on the YouTube channel or on the website, and check the links in the description below for more details on the stuff we talked about. See you all next time. Peace.